terror is trying to tear up Syria. How are people handling all disasters? And how may Syrian youth help their society? The brutal war in Syria didn't leave any chance for a break. A single deadly bullet might assassinate anybody, leaving behind a lot of misery. Silently, Syrian youth are volunteering, spending their days trying to draw a smile that absented in the shadow of the bitter war. They live among people whose lives got severely damaged by the war. These youth are working hard to heal the wounds of their country. They are spending their time defending the human values while others are igniting the war in Syria. Syrians are healing their wounds with their hands, with the living tools they have. Meanwhile, the whole world is watching them suffering from overseas. Although the world big powers were so generous towards the Syrian with conferences and promises which are useless. Some Syrians haven't been involved in the battle. Nevertheless, they have been active in the humanitarian domain, which is inevitable to face the effects of war. How not, and the country has become a theater for tens of extremist organizations, in particular ISIS and Al-Nusra Front, Al-Qaeda official branch in Syria. Thus, Syrians found themselves in an open confrontation with fire and extremism.
We are a group of youth spreading in many parts of the country as a civil organization. We have 58 local and outer administration, like in Netherlands. We did many activities since the beginning of the crisis, aiming to help the displaced families and the families of the martyrs.
Meanwhile, over 4.5 years, the conditions of hundreds of thousands Syrians were getting worse, and the Syrian government found itself in front of a huge humanitarian challenge that adds to the military and security challenges resulted from the invasion of extremists into the country. The cruel economic sanctions imposed on Syria have caused a harsh shortage of sources for the national income. Despite all of that, the Syrian government has tried its best to fill the gap by providing the needed humanitarian aid and facilitating the afforded logistic aids to both the operating civilian institutions in Syria and the relevant NGOs, providing the needed humanitarian assistance. And similarly, the military units and the security service agencies are trying to secure the required conditions as much as possible to accomplish the needed relief works under fire from snipers and unidentified gunmen. This has frequently been happening on the outskirts of Al Yarmouk Palestinian refugee camp, south of the capital Damascus, which is in turn facing deplorable conditions and unrest.
When Al Yarmouk camp residents were suffering from famine and misery, we used to deliver 500 packages of vital aid each day. And by April 2015, we had distributed a total amount of 36,000 packages, including jam and dates, which helped fighting hepatitis.
We are a group of volunteer youth who are ready to give everything we have to help our country and defend our society in all forms. We have organized several campaigns to distribute cooked meals to the people who need, in a rate that reached 100 meals per day. We receive material contributions, but not financial donations.
In addition to offering this psychological care for children suffering from thalassemia.
I want to thank these youth support for their caring of our sick children, but there's a lack of blood donors.
I'm so happy because we have friends helping us to get rid of our disease.
Jafra Institution, for example, launched a campaign to distribute food and wear packages. It consisted of 17 trucks and several cars. This war was never restricted to fire and explosives, but it was definitely a war of ideologies. The ideology of sabotaging the minds and cultures of people and destroying the civilization features. It's truly a war of attrition in the whole country. Therefore, the youth efforts and initiatives were not restricted to the materialistic aspect of the aids, but they also focused on the development and education for the youth, who will have the greatest role in curing the crisis and the reconstruction of the country and raising it anew.
My motivation to do these volunteering workshops is to redefine the concepts, because the crisis affected and distorted many concepts. Everybody among us should have a role, especially the trainers. Through the communication with the young layers of the society by offering free courses which aim at correcting the distorted ideas, the human development, planning and learning how to deal with the crisis with positive thinking.
Since poverty and need are in charge now, millions of Syrians are leaving their country. The only thing they got from the Western and regional countries are fake promises in the so-called conferences, the Friends of Syria. The Syrian tragedy doesn't lie here. It's in the role that was skillfully played by tens of European, regional, Arab and Western countries against the Syrians themselves. They increased their misery by having a direct support to the attacking armed groups that have no political aim or a clear agenda in Syria, but only seek to create a radical militant Islamic emirate that resembles Taliban in Afghanistan. Since the youth are the real future of any country, many ideas and initiatives were presented by them to rebuild Syria.
A youth initiative with a hopeful vision to rebuild and develop Damascus in 2020 was launched. It aimed at changing the city to be a comprehensive economic city, recreating its social, architectural, technical, historical, health, and entertainment facilities.
This is to be done by using lighting bulbs on highways that use energy generated by wind instead of operating in electric power consumption. Reviving by the river by building bilateral water wheels from a certain distance. Ambulance line, metro line, implementing gas pipelines for a better home service that is built, and building towers downtown. War might kill many Syrians, but it can never defeat the will of life inside their souls. This is maybe the survival equation that Syrians refer to. Life may be tolerant with them sometimes and tough other times. However, all Syrians are looking forward for the day when this war stops and they stop suffering and dying while the whole world is watching.